What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of JohnnyVTV Live. Join with me, my boy Kyle Donnelly. Nick having a little trouble getting into the room, but he shall be here any second. So what's going on, buddy?
Hey, how's it going? Well, yours truly is usually here as always, on time and ready to go. But hey, good weekend. Football was going on, typical, every other weekend, but it's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the NFL and no consistency whatsoever in the NFL, as has been a theme of the past few years in the NFL.
I've been thinking, I thought to myself today, I was like, honestly, this has to be one of the worst NFL seasons in recent memory. And of course, they'll try and sit there and paint it like some of the games that have good finishes after having a terrible first 57 minutes, and like a couple good finishes, a few strong games otherwise, but they think this season's been good. They'll try and paint it as such. No, it's not been good. It's been very subpar in my opinion. I'm sure a lot of other people's opinions, but I mean, nonetheless, of course,
very up and down year to further your opinion.
We're just gonna still continue to watch because we love watching football. But
we're suckers. We're a glutton for punishment. We're suckers for it, right, Johnny?
We are a glutton for punishment, absolutely. But how was your weekend, man? What'd you get up to?
Oh, nothing. Just try to pay attention to what was going on in the sports world. I don't want to even mention my football team because they embarrassed the hell out of me on Sunday. They really did. They truly did. And my hockey team, they're not doing that great either, to be honest. They're letting me down in quite a few ways, and now they're getting postponed because of COVID. So how are you handling this craziness that we're dealing with in this world, Mr. Johnny?
It's going well. Got my first article out on NBC Sports Edge this past week.
Congratulations, young man.
My guy. Yeah, so it went well. We were the Packers blowing a backdoor away from a perfect slate, which is very unfortunate. I'm going to have a Week 16's article out probably, I would say, Thursday or Friday.
Who saw that coming, honestly? Let's be real.
Dude, it annoys me. They're up 14 points with 4.5 minutes to go. Rodgers has Lazard in the end zone to put him up 21 points, and then he missed them. And, it's just it happens. That's kind of how the season's been going. A lot of bad beats on my end. I feel like way more – a lot of times you'll get a bad beat, right? And sometimes it'll go your way. Sometimes it'll go against you. I feel like so many bad beats have been going against me all season. I haven't been getting too many going in my favor, so it's just very frustrating.
That's the kind of stuff that makes you think the NFL's rigged, right?
It really does. It really does. But we got our boy here, Nick Durst. Let's bring him out. What's up, kid? How you doing?
Raise the roof. The other one's here. Let's go.
What's up? I see Kyle is supporting Hangman. Johnny's got his endorsement deal with Under Armour. And good day for the Mets fans. Buck Showalter.
Yes, Nick. How elated are you about that news?
I'm very happy about it. I think we're getting close to Johnny maybe making another mistake and betting for the Mets to win the World Series. I would at least bet on them to get to the World Series maybe at plus 600. Not too bad of a bet.
I got an idea, Johnny. Don't bet them to go to the World Series and watch them do it. Mark my words.
Yeah, right.
They got to get Chris Bryant next, but we'll see after the lockout.
So what's going on, Nick? I love I'm right. How you feeling, buddy? How was your weekend?
I was recovering, but I'm feeling a lot better now. And, it's not a great weekend of football as far as the results that I was hoping for. Never good when the Bucks lose. Not good for business for me. But
why not?
Well, I do edit videos for Rob Gronkowski, so if they lose, I don't edit the video, so no money. Gotta win to get the video to get paid. So no choice but to root for the Bucks. But I mean, who doesn't love Tuesday Night Football? I wish it was a permanent thing.
COVID special.
Love it.
So I'm excited. We got a doubleheader, and I don't really care about Washington, Philly, but Rams, Seahawks, we got that going on. But before we get into all that, what was your reactions to Week 15, Kyle? Who or what stood out to you?
I was gonna say, if I could, Mr. Johnny, and start off here, How do the Lions ruin everybody's parlay this weekend? What? Are you kidding me, Arizona? You go out there with Kyler Murray. I know D-Hop isn't in the lineup, but you have, other than D-Hop, a fully loaded offense. Are you kidding me? How do you lay an egg like this against Detroit? Please. I mean, Nick, you've been riding the bandwagon for Arizona since the beginning of the year. Can somebody please explain to me what the hell Arizona was doing on Sunday?
Well, it's as simple as this. Jared Goff is now 8-0 in his career against the Cardinals. He's got their number. So give it up for Jared Goff. He's trying to fight for his job, and I don't think there's any reason why the Lions should move on from him this offseason because he throws the ball.
He throws the ball downfield 5 yards on every throw. He doesn't throw the ball downfield.
Great QBR rating.
Okay, great. That's not going to win you a game when you can't test the defense.
They just won the game. It won them the game.
But on a mind-boggling, like what me and Johnny were talking about before, with like stuff that doesn't make sense, that makes you think the NFL's like that's losing my mind watching that game. Losing.
Well, in any case, Nick, what about you? What stood out to you since the Cardinals blowing? Honestly, I didn't love the Cardinals last week. I mean, I thought they would win, but I didn't like them, honestly, in general. Without D-Hop, they're sleepwalking right now. I think they're going to run into a buzzsaw with Indianapolis this weekend. So I'd be very weary.
Look out for them.
Well, for me, I mean, there's a few things. Number one, I mean, who saw the Bucks getting shut out? I mean, that
no
shut out or beat
didn't see either coming.
You didn't think they had a chance? I mean, given the fact that the Saints have won coming into the game, I believe the Saints had won 6 of their last 7 versus Tampa. They beat Tom Brady 3 times in the last 3 regular season games heading into Sunday night. They always play them tough. They beat them with Trevor Siemian. So you didn't think that they had a shot. Like, obviously, Godwin going down, Evans getting out, Fournette going out, like that obviously makes a huge impact. But even with those guys, they weren't doing anything. Dennis Allen, without Sean Payton, let me say, Dennis Allen drew up one hell of a game plan to stymie Tom Brady's worst. Tom Brady had his worst performance probably, aside from last year's Sunday Night Football game in Tampa against the Saints. That was probably one of his worst performances ever in his career.
Yeah, and I don't want to hear, like we heard the day before, Byron Leftwich, back to the Jaguars head coach. This guy's not ready to be a head coach. The offense looked miserable, but they get Johnny's guy, Antonio Brown, next week back. But the big problem is, on third down, number one, you cannot take Gronk out of the game.
You got to convert. You got to convert on third down. That's key to the game.
You have to have Rob Gronkowski in the game, Kyle. You can't take him out because then Tom Brady is getting blitzed and they can't stop him. That happened a few times in the game. There's other times where they put Gronkowski out wide. He's got to be in on third down because he has to do a chip block at least, because the only way to beat Tom Brady is if you get pressure in his face, and that is what the Saints did. Other things that really stood out to me, either the Ravens are actually good or the Packers aren't that good, because that game should not have been close. And the Packers, they only won because twice now Harbaugh has cost his team victories going for 2 points. I don't like that. When you have the best kicker in football, you play for the tie and you go to overtime and you try to win it. That was pretty stupid in my opinion. And then lastly, I just want to say good job by the Bills getting things back on track. A must-need to win. They should have probably beat the Bucs last week. They could have beat the Patriots, but it was crazy wind conditions. And now you got the Bills next week versus the Patriots. Tremendously huge game. If Bills win, they're going to go from the 7th wild card up to the 2 seed. And then it could be the Patriots on the outside looking in, depending on how the rest of the North shakes out, because all teams are looking good there. So very, very, curious and watching very closely what happens with the Bills and the Patriots next week. But the Bills did what they had to do in order to get back in that position to make that a really big game.
Now, real quick on your 2-point conversion thing with the Ravens there, Nick, the reason they did it the first time around was actually because of them losing their cornerback. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. Their star corner. They lost him with a shoulder injury, like just at the end of the game. and they had no corners to defend any of the Steelers wide receivers, so that's why he went for 2 at the end of the game there, which I can't blame him there in that situation if you're playing with knowing that you don't have the corners to hang in overtime with, essentially. But this past Sunday, I agree with you there. He's got to kick the extra point.
Yeah, well, just kick the ball. The Chargers were managed so terribly on Thursday Night Football last week. They should have beat the Chiefs by 17 points. They left 17 points on the board, but not kicking field goals. And now they're looking on the outside, looking in for the playoffs. They should be the 1 seed right now in the AFC. So that was on Staley, the loss for the Chargers.
Well, Brandon Staley overmanages his team. He doesn't kick field goals. He always goes for it on 4th down. He likes to go for 2 a lot. It doesn't matter. He kind of runs like that kid in Madden. You know what I'm saying? Like, you grew up with that kid in Madden who would always go for 2, all this crazy nonsense. And like, you out coach yourself, you out manage yourself, and like, look at where it got them. But I would say for me, honestly, I got to give it where it's due. I thought they were dead in the water. Their future looked as bright as the intergalactic black hole from Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer 8 weeks of the season. And that was the Indianapolis Colts. I was like, they might be lucky to make the playoffs. Now they're a Titan stumble away from
not good
getting them in the AFC.
It already happened against Pittsburgh this weekend. That's why I'm so sour about them right now. And I'm on board with you with Indianapolis about them being a buzzsaw for Arizona coming up. I mean, Indianapolis is motivated, man, and a Frank Reich team that is really locked in.
You look at what Indianapolis has to deal with. If they beat Arizona, right? They beat Arizona, then who do they have the next 2 weeks? They have a Raiders team who, like, the Raiders are so annoying. Like, they're not good, but like, they could give you enough problems to where, like, it's not an absolute layup. Like, sometimes you get them and it's a total layup. It's like a Vince Carter prime windmill throwdown on a fast break. But, you know, other times, like against the Cowboys, they're going to give you a fit. But ultimately, I would project the run funnel Raiders defense to get clowned by Jonathan Taylor. And then their last game of the season, that is a layup. That's the Jacksonville Jaguars. So if they beat the Cardinals on Saturday, they have a realistic shot to be winning. Winning what? What are they at right now? They're at 8-6. They have to be an 11-win team. Take the AFC South. And honestly, if that's the case, they might be able to finesse their way into the 3 seed. And now they're hosting a playoff game at home. So got to give it where it's due, man. Indianapolis has just looked really good lately. They're basically copying the Titans formula from a year ago, except the fact that, you know, Carson Wentz didn't look as good as Tannehill, and the receivers, there's nobody like A.J. Brown on that team. Michael Pittman's good, but, you know, he's not Arthur Brown.
And I'm sorry, but there's nobody like Derrick Henry when Derrick Henry's healthy.
Obviously. Okay, Kyle, relax. We got it. Kyle, relax.
Julio Jones, on the other hand, that's like, you know, just another
one. Bye. Anyway, looking forward to a Week 16 matchup. I'm going to start it off because first game, I think we got to go on the slate here, is the Colts at the Cardinals. Cardinals are currently laying 1. Over-under is 50. Guys, you look at this game here. You're seeing what Jonathan Taylor's been doing. He's got 19 total tutties in his last 11 games. He's got 11 straight games with a score. Indianapolis is an absolute buzzsaw right now. And would you believe they've won 5 of their last 6 games, 7 of their last 9. They lead the NFL in takeaways with 31. I mean, they are, any way you look at it, just maybe the hottest team in football. They've scored 30 points in 7 of their last 9 games. Do we think Arizona's got a shot? Nick, if they lose this, not going to say I told you so, but I kind of told you so.
Tell me so. They're making the playoffs 100%, the Cardinals.
You got Kyler Murray MVP. The Arizona Cardinals are going to win the Super Bowl. Get out of here.
No, I said the Cardinals are going to win the NFC West, which they are. Because I'll give you my game. I'll give you my game next, where after this. But yeah, I love the Cardinals' chances here. Why not? I mean, they're 2 good teams. The Colts are hotter than the Dolphins. The Dolphins have won 6 straight. I mean, they're the hottest team in the NFL right now, going from 1-7 to 6 straight wins, 7-7. Kyle knows it's true. So
It's admirable, yeah, but I mean, I would take the Colts over the Dolphins.
Tua Tagovailoa, who can only throw the ball 2 yards down the field, as compared to Jared Goff, who can only throw it 5 yards down the field. You know, he's got them to 7-7, 500 in the hunt right now.
In the hunt. But yeah, I mean, of course, I'm going to roll with the Cardinals in this one. I mean, I'll go with the better quarterback. Kyler Murray is so much better than Mac Jones. So
you mean
throw the Patriots game out there last week.
Yeah, you mean Carson Wentz?
No. I'm saying because last week the Colts played Mac Jones. Jones
oh, okay, gotcha.
So they're playing a much better quarterback in Kyler Murray. And, you know, it doesn't seem like the Colts have too much success with the scrambling quarterback, so to say. Let's remember that Monday Night Football game where they were up huge, and Lamar Jackson brought the Ravens all the way back for a big upset there, big comeback win. So I've seen that Colts team too many times this year to say confidently that they're going to go ahead and run right through the AFC. So 1 point game here, I'll pick the Cardinals.
I think there was a sell high on the Cardinals a few weeks ago. Like, I wasn't a believer in them. I will say, you know, their roaring start that they got off to 7-0 was great. It really was. They're putting up a lot of points. But quite frankly, man, I didn't buy in on them all year, especially in the month of December. Like, if you look at what they've done in the Cliff Kingsbury era in the month of December, it's not good, dude. They're only 5-7 straight up, 5-6-1 against the spread. It's not something that impresses me. And even more so, this season in particular, I don't know what it is. They cannot play at home. They're typically not a good home team in the Kingsbury era. But this season, if you look at it, bro, they've scored just over 30 points per game on the road and barely over 22 points per game at home. They've only scored 30 points at home twice this year. It was against the Vikings in week 2, and it was against the Texans. They are in a free fall. Arizona, Kyler Murray, aside from one garbage touchdown against Detroit last week, pretty much should have went 2 straight games without throwing a touchdown. He does not look good. He's probably not fully healthy. The real-life Tommy Pickles is not bringing it right now. I mean, you would expect more from a guy who was a strong MVP candidate the first 9 weeks of the season. And now we're looking at it here that Murray without D-Hop, it's just not looking great against one of the more ferocious units in football. And I want to leave you with this, because Arizona's defense has started to falter a little bit as well. Would you believe in the last 2 weeks, they've allowed 10 scoring drives of 6 players or more? Going against a team like Indianapolis that's going to run the ball down your throat, that could pose major issues. Also would like to mention the 4-1 against the spread road dog Colts this season are also 8-0 when Jonathan Taylor rushes for 100 yards, 0-6 when he doesn't. That is a scientifically proven by me formula that Jonathan Taylor getting 100 yards is going to pose a major issue for the Arizona Cardinals trying to win this game. And unless something wakes up Kyler Murray, they've been sleepwalking the last 2 weeks, this is going to be a major issue for them to try and beat the Colts at home. This line, just so you know, was a look ahead at Cardinals -4.5. This has gotten down to Cardinals -1. Now, I would predict before, I would say Friday, maybe Saturday, late action, this game will be at least a pick 'em. So this is getting very interesting. Nick, what say you? I want to hear why you think that's going to happen. Give me your second opinion if you have one.
I already gave you my opinion, but
maybe I gave you. What am I, chopped liver over here?
You are chopped liver, but I want to see if you changed your mind. If I got you on,
you did not change my mind. Taylor's going to rush for 99 yards, and the Cardinals will win the game.
Oh wow! All right, Kyle, let's hear it.
Okay, I'm going to give you something a little more noteworthy here. The Colts are going to dominate this game. Period. Stop. Dominate this game. Okay. Jonathan Taylor is going to rush for 160 yards and 2 touchdowns. Carson Wentz is only going to throw for about 150 to 175. But guess what? The Colts are still going to run right over the Cardinals. 27-3 is your final score. The Cardinals only get 3 to avoid the shutout embarrassment, period.
Okay, let's put a break on it because I'm probably going to be going against Jonathan Taylor in a couple matchups. I don't need him going for $160, but I do agree with you there. Maybe if you're feeling lucky, take the alternate spread. Colts -10. I think they're gonna press the Cardinals this week. But in any case, Nick, what's your game of the week, my friend?
Easiest stone cold lock of the week. Vikings +3 against the Rams. Easy money. You look what happened when the Packers went up to Minnesota last time. The same line. Vikings cover it. No doubt about it. The Vikings are surging now for the playoffs. +3. Vikings will be a safe bet for you in this game.
Okay, but you didn't say why. Like, you didn't give me a why. You're putting out nonsense.
Because they play at home. I gave you a reason why. Look at the Packers game. No one thought that was going to be close. They won. If you bet them, they won the game. This is what they do. They against high-powered offenses in Minnesota, for whatever reason it is, with the aerodynamics there, they always seem to come away with the win from a betting perspective, from what I could see with the naked eye. So I just like them in this. I think there's nothing that tells me the Rams are going to blow out the Vikings here. The Vikings have a pretty good offense. Kirk Cousins had a tremendous year. They didn't look that great on Monday Night Football, that's for sure. But they always kind of choke in prime time. Kirk Cousins only has one win in prime time. But this is a 1 o'clock game or a 4 o'clock game. So you don't really have to worry about that too much. It's a 1 o'clock game. So then you got, again, West Coast team coming to the Eastern time zone that always comes to play. So listen, the Rams could very well win this game. For betting purposes, I like the Vikings here at +3. What do you think, Kyle?
I'm in lockstep with you there. How does that sound, sir? The Rams haven't really impressed me all that much, and I think the Vikings, despite the fact that they're not real. Let's be real about them. Like, they're in the hunt, but they're not really at the forefront of the hunt. They're
the 7th seed right now, tied with the Saints.
I feel better about the Saints, and I was going to actually go into the Dolphins-Saints game this upcoming week on Monday night. I actually like that matchup. I think that's going to be a competitive. But to the Vikings-Rams here, I think the Vikings are playing really, really tough football, and from a betting perspective, I love the Vikings here. Now, obviously, like Nick just said, I think the Rams can win, but the Vikings have all the momentum in the world going right now. And Kirk Cousins won with 80, what was it last night? 87 passing yards? Like, are you kidding me? And Dalvin Cook only rushed for 89. Like, how about that defense? Now, of course, that spells problems for that offense because Chicago didn't have anybody in the secondary last night due to all the COVID people that were out. So, yeah, tell me about it, please. How is Minnesota going to rebound against the Rams defense?
Okay. I heard what you two idiots said. Now let me give it to you this way. First of all, Rams, obviously, they play in a little under 40 minutes against Seattle. So what happens tonight is going to dictate the line. This is the look-ahead line. 3 points currently is the look-ahead line for Rams-Vikings next week. Rams on a short week, obviously. Vikings on a short week, Rams on a shorter week. However, if the Rams come out tonight and blow out Seattle, this line could go to 5, 6. So this is 3 points right now. So let's just say this isn't totally a fair price yet. I mean, if you want to get in early on the Rams, if you think they're going to win, whatever the case is, chances are the Rams aren't going to have a better price than -3. It's going to be more points most likely. So with that being said, if we're taking the Rams -3 or the Vikings +3, I got to be honest. The Vikings are a bizarre team this year. They're the strangest story I've ever seen. They've been in a one-possession game every single game this season, win or lose, except for the game against Seattle where they beat them by 13 points. Makes no sense. Maybe they play down to their competition. Maybe they play up to their competition. What I will say is this. Minnesota is one of the worst defenses when it comes to battle. They have one of the worst secondaries. They cannot cover opposing receivers. They allow top 3 most yards in the NFL, top 3 most touchdowns in the NFL. What do you think is going to happen when they have to go against Cooper Kupp and they have to go against OBJ? My guess is there's going to be major problems. Now, the Rams have shored up their run defense a little bit. I do think Dalvin Cook will probably get his. Justin Jefferson, Jalen Ramsey is going to be a good fight, I would say. But at the end of the day, looking at LA, them going to the Eastern time zone has not been a problem, even though I think the Vikings are in the Central time zone. But regardless, in the Eastern time zone under Sean McVay, they're 11-3 straight up, 10-4 against the spread. The way Matthew Stafford is playing right now, getting his groove back, I love it. He's re-entered the MVP conversation. If the Rams win tonight and beat Seattle, they're tied with Arizona. Now, there's a very realistic possibility Arizona might lose out. They really could. They could definitely lose out heading into Week 16. They got the Colts, the Cowboys, and Seattle with what's probably Russell Wilson's last game as a Seahawk. Very realistic. Now, the Rams sense they have a second lease on life after they had a really bad 3-game losing streak, that not only can they get the NFC West, but they can get a top 2 seed, possibly if everything goes their way, get a 1 seed if Green Bay just collapses, which is unlikely. Stafford could get the MVP. I think they smell blood in the water, and they're going to be able to go into Minnesota. Stafford is very familiar with the Vikings and put on a clinic and put them in their place. Minnesota is not good. Their defense is a total liability, and especially if Adam Thielen doesn't play and it's just Jalen Ramsey on Justin Jefferson and everybody's going to stack the Bucs against Dalvin Cook, good luck. I like the Rams. I think they're due. They have a new lease on life, and they will not blow it this time. Your Honor, no objections.
I think Stafford in his career is like 70 games under 500, under 70 games under 500 against teams 500 or better. So he's very familiar with losing to the Vikings. I'll give you that.
You mean when he played for the Lions with no running game, no defense, and after Calvin Johnson, no receivers?
Hall of Fame wide receiver.
Yeah.
For a couple years, bro.
Megatron.
Bro, I
think he loves Kenny Galladay.
I do love Galladay, but he's always hurt.
As short a career as Megatron had, let's be realistic about what that guy really. He could have been like Jerry Rice good if he would have played like another 7 years. Like, he was that good. He was so good. He really made Stafford that better than he. Like, let's be real about it. He used to throw the ball into triple coverage, and Megatron would go get it.
Okay,
and half the time with one hand.
It. But what I'm trying to tell you is the Rams. I'm sorry.
Right, so if this goes to 5, Rams minus 5, you taking the Vikings?
I love this number later in the week. Let's say Johnny's right, and the Rams beat the snot out of Seattle tonight. This number's going to go to 6, 5, 6, 7, right around there probably.
If you
love it for the Vikings then later in the week, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sit and wait for this game then.
If you like the Vikings at +3 at the look ahead, I would wait until tomorrow, Thursday. I would wait to see the injury reports. I would wait to see what happens tonight. Chances are the Rams win, and if they win, there could be some action that gets this line up to 5, maybe 6 points. I doubt it'll be that dramatic, but you never know. The way COVID's going, there's a lot of variables.
Yeah, Johnny, I was going to ask you, with COVID right now, is it? I mean, you really should be waiting till the day of the games to place your bet, don't you think?
Couldn't agree more.
I mean, some people don't, dude. Like, you're rolling the dice. You're betting, in my opinion. Like, I don't like betting too early in general, just because I have to see the injuries first. And there's a lot of times there's a lot of late scratches sometimes. But the last 2 years with COVID, and as bad as it's ramping up, it's so difficult, bro. I feel like you're betting before you actually put in your bet. You're gambling before you actually gamble when you want to bet. Like, sometimes it works in your favor, but sometimes it doesn't. Like, now, let me ask you, like, what if on Thursday I looked at the Browns. I was like, oh, the Browns, do I like the Browns -6 fully loaded? Yeah, I do. But then what happens? They get COVID, and then before you know it, then they're 3-point dogs on Monday night. So there's a whole lot that's going on here.
And lose a shocking game to the Raiders, by the way. I couldn't believe they lose.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. It's terrible. But anyway, my game of the week, I'm going to highlight here. I think this is the most critical, or at least one of the most critical games of the NFL week of the season. This is the Bills-Patriots rematch. 2.5 points the Patriots are laying at home. Bizarre, because last time these two teams played, which was a couple weeks ago, where Mac Jones had an electric all-world MVP performance of 3 pass attempts, the Bills were also 2.5-point home favorites. So it's odd that the books are evaluating home field advantage of these two teams as 2.5 points. Now, Buffalo has a shot, after all that's gone on this season, to take the AFC East crown away from the Patriots after they usurped it from the Bills. Kyle, what do you think about this matchup? Which way is the wind blowing? After a big tornado game.
Yeah, right. Up in Buffalo when they had, 30-mile-an-hour winds and Mac Jones didn't throw the ball, like you said, more than 3 times.
Well, that was in New England, that game, right?
No, it was in Buffalo. And it was the first time, in like 40 years that there was, why can't I think, that there was so few pass completions for a team that won a game in the NFL.
Yeah.
Look, as far as I'm concerned, the Bills, sure, they get right. Are they really going to be up to snub against a Patriots defense that is, although they lost last week, I'm not going to lie, them losing last week was a bit of a shock. Don't get me wrong. I think this is the Bill Belichick get right spot, especially against a crucial divisional opponent. Do the Patriots cover? I mean, odds are probably, just based on the fact that it's 2.5, you would think that they could win by a field goal, especially at the gun or something like that. But it's going to be a tight ball game either way. But I'll take the Patriots covering the number.
Well, I think the Bills are going to win outright. So obviously, give me the Bills plus 2.5. The only reason they lost with the last time was the weather. I mean, Josh Allen's maybe the only quarterback that could actually make the throws he made to reach the end zone. Stephon Diggs had a huge drop in that game. And that, to me, that was the difference. I've seen enough from the Bills against the Bucs and then this week offensively to know that in regular weather, teams are going to have trouble containing Josh Allen. They have some issues with the run game for sure, but I think in this one, the Bills are going to win this. And I do think, it's huge for them because I think they actually do have a shot at potentially the 1 seed, because I do believe that the Chiefs will, in fact, lose either to the Steelers or the Bengals. I don't think they're going to win out. And we know the Bills beat the Chiefs earlier in the season, so they would have the tiebreaker if they win out.
So the interesting thing here, after the Patriots got dragged like a Dothraki prisoner of war up and down the field by the Colts on Saturday, they do have a shot to have a get right game here against Buffalo. The problem is plain and simple. It is so difficult to beat a quality divisional opponent twice in 1 year unless you're the Saints beating Tom Brady. So I think this is the spot where Buffalo is gonna get even. Like, they got so outplayed in the first meeting, yet they still had a shot to win. A couple drops don't happen, or a couple drops are actually caught. Maybe the Bills come away with that game. It's just, the problem is, at the end of the day, we have 2 teams that we have the 2 best takeaway teams, pretty much the 2 best scoring teams or scoring defenses in football. So while they both match up really well with the opposing offense, I think Josh Allen will be able to get enough done via the air. I think he's going to have to run a little bit more than he has in the past. The issue is, Buffalo's got to get off the field. They got to plug the run, because when they face a running back that eclipses 100 yards this season in a game, they're 0-4. Last time they faced Dame Harris, he had 100 yards. He had that 50-yard piece on a loaded box. They knew it was coming. They still couldn't stop him. And they're 2-6 this year when they go against a running back that's got 16 or more carries. I'll say this. The Patriots, there's a lot of case to be made for them getting this game, but ultimately I think the Bills know they need this. And I think whichever team wins this game is going to win out. And I hate to say it because I think the Bills are frauds, but I think they're due to, at the bare minimum, cover the 2.5. But I think I'm with Nick here. I think they went outright. It's going to be tough. I think Buffalo stands up. And
it also note that Dabble and McDermott in the goal line, or the red zone rather, in that last game, very foolish, because they got down there a few times, and obviously you can't kick a field goal there, and they didn't have Josh Allen do anything with the run pass option. If you get within 10 yards of the end zone, Josh Allen has to at least touch the ball to be able to run at least twice out of those 3 down.
Yeah, I think this is Buffalo's season right here. I mean, this is both of their team's season. Chances are they're both making the playoffs, but I think this is Buffalo's season, because if they lose this game, right? If they lose this game, then they're going to drop down to what? They're going to drop down to 8-7. Now they're in real issues with the AFC North 2 seed. They're in issues with the Chargers. They're in issues with
AFC
the
North
Colts.
3rd seed and the Colts. Yeah,
the Colts. If Buffalo loses this game, there's a strong possibility they might lose outright because Indianapolis is right on their heels. Like, let's say the Colts win on Saturday, right? Now the Colts have what do they have on them? A game and a half or 2.5 game lead on them. So if the Bills tie them, they're done.
Lock of the week, Indianapolis.
Yeah, but I think this is a Bills spot. This is a Bills must win. The Patriots probably still get in if they lose, and obviously they want to get the 2 seed, the 3 seed, whatever. But the Bills need this, I think, in order to get in the playoffs. If they don't, if they lose this,
yeah, and also if the Bills lose, then also there's a good chance the Dolphins will have the same record as them too at the end of the week.
Very possible.
All I'm going to say on this Patriots game, and then I'll put it to bed. There was also another quarterback who was a rookie quarterback, came in.
Cutting out, Kyle. All right. Well,
I think he was going to compare Mac Jones to Tom Brady.
I think so too.
I'm glad Tom Brady didn't start from week 1.
Okay, but you know what? Here's the thing, though. If the stars align like that, look out. That is dangerous to have to play in New England with that crowd and that defense. That's all I'm saying. Play mistake-free football like Mac Jones has basically been doing this year.
So do you guys think the Chiefs are going to get the 1 seed? Will they win out?
No.
Yeah, I think so. I think they will.
I don't know. I get this feeling the Bengals might have a shot to beat them, and the Steelers
They're not,
bro.
They're not good. So the Bengals.
See.
The Bengals.
The Bengals are going to win the division, I think.
They might. I don't know, bro. The Bengals are very fortunate. Bro. Like the Bengals are winning. The Bengals might win the division because Cleveland got injury ravaged this year, like Baltimore did with COVID, bro. Fully, at least half healthy, bro. Baltimore, Cleveland are way better than Cincinnati. They both got. Cincinnati's only here because they're the healthiest team in the entire division.
Cleveland should be in first, but the whole Raiders debacle yesterday.
Yeah, and honestly, Nick, the interim coach, Mike Preffer, whatever his name is,
the special teams coach.
He played to not lose that game, not to win. They get the interception on 3rd down that everybody knew they were going to run it. He still runs it anyway, gives Derek Carr a second chance at a comeback just to make a field goal, not to go down and get a touchdown. He played scared. He didn't play to win the game. He played to not lose. Don't like it. And they still should have came out with that one.
For me, with the Chiefs, I think in the playoffs, I would pick against them in every single game they play until they prove to me they're going to win the Super Bowl. I just don't think they're as good as their record. They got lucky. Remember, Rodgers was out with COVID, and they won that, and that game happened. The Chargers sucked coaching wise this last game. The Giants, they had a bunch of injuries, and they actually only lost in a 1 possession game. Maybe they would have won. If you're making the Giants look competitive with you, I just got an issue with thinking you're going to win the Super Bowl. And also, again, I don't know if they could beat I don't know if they're going to beat the Bills if they face off. The Bills look pretty impressive early on in the season against the Chiefs.
I got to be honest, dude. I think KC's going to get the 1 seed. I didn't project them to go to the Super Bowl this year. But in a wide open AFC, man, anything could happen. Like if they run to the Chargers again, anything like the Chargers outplayed them twice this year. So it's very easy to think that the Chargers should get the tiebreaker over them. I mean, it's wide open. If the Titans get Derrick Henry back, maybe they have to go against Tennessee again. The Bills could pose a problem. You never know if the Ravens they face. This AFC is so topsy-turvy that there is a good reason to think Kansas City might not get it, despite, a 7-game win streak. That being said, there's a lot of football left, and I'm excited to see what happens. But that'll do it for our plays. I'm going to go my gambling guineas best betting trend of the night. Hit the Bengals last week. We got the Colts plus 1.5 at the Arizona Cardinals. I locked it in at 1.5. This might go down to 1. And like I said, even a pick 'em. It's ironic because on PointsBet, you have absolutely no value taking the money line. Ordinarily, you'd be like, well, why are you taking the 1.5? Take the money line. This tells me that this line is going to be moving in the direction of the Colts into the pick 'em market. Right now, At +1, the Colts are -110. The money line -110. There's no value. Might as well get the extra point, whatever. Bada beep, bada boop. I like Indianapolis to stay hot this week. JT probably going to have another big one. Your Honor, no objections. Spiraling into that, presented by Emerge Sports Group, our Emerge Sports Player of the Night. I'm going with Jonathan Taylor in a big matchup against the Arizona Cardinals that have been getting worked. I think he is obviously an MVP candidate, but I will like to say I'm tired of people saying he is the MVP. If he doesn't at bare minimum match what Derrick Henry did this year, I in no way, shape, or form think he is deserving of the MVP, especially with the extra game. So let's cut it out, Taylor, for MVP. As great of a season as he's had, Derrick Henry didn't get MVP consideration last year with his team going to the playoffs, I might add. So JT, I do think he has a great game on Saturday night, delivers a nice Christmas present for his fantasy owners. Hopefully not too good because I'm going against them most likely. That being said, that's the Emerge Sports Player of the Night. Nick, I want to kick it off to you. What is your final thoughts for the week?
Yeah, I mean, interested to see MVP. I think Rodgers may have overtaken Brady this past weekend. His numbers are a little lower, but he did miss a game. But Brady's getting shut out, so we'll see. And I think usually the 1 seed always gets the MVP, and it looks like the Packers are going to be the 1 seed. Big game in the NFL next weekend. Bears, Seahawks. Huge implications for the Giants and Jets because they each get their first round picks of those 2 games. So going to watch that closely. Giants right now potentially going to have the 5th and 6th pick in the draft. The Jets will have the 4th and 7th. So it's a pretty big deal. From the Giants, I'm either looking to sign Aaron Rodgers or trade for Russell Wilson with those picks. If you can't do that, I've come around on Joe Judge. Now I'm in the camp of this guy's got to go. Get rid of Gettleman. Daniel Jones, hopefully he never plays a game again for the Giants because he is the issue. The O-line stinks, but how great is the O-line with the Packers or at the Seahawks? And Wilson and Rodgers are able to do great things. I think if the Giants can get one of those guys as an impact quarterback coming in, they can compete right away next year in the NFC East. The defense is actually pretty good. They're giving up 20 points a game or so, but they're losing because the offense is dreadful. If you're not going to get one of those guys, what I would do is I would draft an offensive lineman back-to-back on those first 2 picks. So you're getting at least 2 of the top 4 linemen in the draft. And then I would run the gamble next year. I would sign either Marcus Mariota or Mitch Trubisky. Both guys have proven they actually can win games in the NFL. You don't need Mike Glennon back there. Those guys aren't going to turn the ball over. I think Trubisky would be great with the way he can move around. He's been to the playoffs. Mariota, I like him as well. They'll be cheap. You bulk up that offensive line, and the defense is pretty solid. But to me, I think Daniel Jones is a huge issue with the Giants. I don't really love any of the quarterbacks in the draft. Kenny Pickett looks like he's the best, but this is not a quarterback draft. Maybe someone reaches for him. If not, maybe he ends up with the Steelers to replace Big Ben. But the Giants, I think they need to get a new quarterback next year, and that's the only way they could even fantasize about getting a winning record in the next 3 years.
I feel like I was talking to J.K. Rowling's partner in the publishing business because you just wrote a novel. Could you just email me the rest of the story? Kyle, I'm kidding, Nick. Relax.
Harry Potter is horrible. Never read any of the books.
Okay. Yeah, I don't read Harry Potter books. Kyle, how about you, bud?
Well, I will touch on the Aaron Rodgers situation. He's most likely going to win the MVP. He's also going to break Brett Favre's touchdown record for the Packers, most likely this upcoming week against the Browns. As I believe he tied him last night with the 4 touchdown passes that he had. So he'll break it this upcoming week. My final thoughts is a second game of the week for me is Tennessee versus San Francisco at home on Thursday night. I got San Francisco winning in this one because Tennessee is completely lost as a team. They go into other, teams' stadiums and they go and dance on their logo and then they lose like idiots. So, they don't have their heads right. They don't know what they're doing right now. And Ghost Jones, who knows if we'll see him. But Tennessee's running game was there. Ryan Tannehill wasn't. San Francisco's climbed back into the playoff picture, and they're 8-6 now. I like them to lock up a playoff spot, and it happens with getting a win over the Titans. This is my second lock of the week because the Colts are my absolute lock, and then I am locking in the Niners on Thursday night.
Noted. Duly noted. So here's what I'll say now. As of right now on PointsBet, and you might have to wait till after tonight's game because maybe Sean McVay has some impact on it, potentially long shot. So possibly you have to wait till tomorrow. But as of right now, Matt LaFleur is plus 700 on PointsBet for Coach of the Year. To me, this is the bet to make. I was talking about this last week with some people. Bill Belichick, if he doesn't get the 1 seed or he doesn't get a top 2 seed, even a top 3 seed, if he loses the AFC East, he's not going to get Coach of the Year. So he's out of it. Cliff Kingsbury, very close to losing the NFC West crown. If he loses the NFC West, he has no shot to get it. Absolutely no shot. Right now, might not even have a shot. If the Packers get the 1 seed, there is no reason to think that LaFleur is not getting this Coach of the Year, especially with all the turmoil the Packers had early on with Aaron Rodgers, the vaccine, he wasn't going to come back, yada, yada, yada. So with that being said, LaFleur right now, plus 700 is unreal value. I would jump on it right now. Do not wait. Do not let this value pass you by. Go get it. That being said, if LaFleur gets Coach of the Year, it's highly unlikely Aaron Rodgers is going to get the MVP because they're usually not going to give you 2 awards to the same team. So that being said, tonight is a night for Matthew Stafford to re-emerge himself to the forefront of the MVP conversation. If he comes in with 330 yards, 3 touchdowns against Seattle in a win, I think he has a strong case to reclaim some MVP votes. Your Honor, objections.
It's like a broken record here every Tuesday. Matthew Stafford, MVP. The guy will not get 1 MVP vote. But what about Brian Flores for Coach of the Year if the Dolphins make the playoffs? There's probably some value there.
That I would actually agree with you there, Nick. If the Dolphins make the playoffs, that's got to be part of the stipulation.
Yes.
It's got to be part of it. They make the playoffs, though. You're absolutely right. He's probably got great odds right now for Coach of the Year.
He's got terrible odds. He's plus 5,000. So I would say Flores doesn't win it.
I'll throw $5 on it if the Dolphins make it right now. Guess what?
Throw $5 on it. Throw $5 on it.
I become a millionaire.
Throw $5 really,
on it. But you get my point. You get a lot of value.
Throw $5 on it. I mean, yeah. But at the end of the day, listen. The only reason Tom Brady was such an MVP favorite for a while. Look at it. His stats are great, but look at his pass attempts. Like currently in comparison, even though he played 1 more game than Stafford to this point, heading into 10 minutes from now, do you know how many more passing attempts Brady has than Stafford this season? It's in the ballpark of 150 more attempts. 150. And guess what? If Stafford has 35 attempts tonight, throws for 300 plus yards, 3 touchdowns, they have the same amount of touchdown passes. They have within 130, 140 pass yard difference. So, you know what? A lot of guys could put up numbers when you have 150 more attempts than another MVP candidate. So, I digress. But anyway, appreciate everybody joining us. Follow us on Twitter at _JohnnyVTV. That is yours truly. He's at Nick_Durst. Kyle has not gotten to Twitter. Check us out Instagram. I'm at Gambling Guinea, also at JohnnyVTV. He's at Nick's Food and Stuff, and he is at the Kyle Donnelly. Take care. See you next week.